Hello, I'm Ian,
And I'm Darren.
and welcome to the Average Bikers in a Cave, a show where a group of bikers chat and share opinions about all things motorbike, from news, reviews, interviews, and the big questions. If you like what you hear, then be sure to subscribe, tell your friends, and leave us a review.
On today's show, along with our usual ramblings, we will have a bumper news with some new bikes, new tech, and a new adventure. Also, we will tackle this week's big question: what are the best apps for the bike? And as if all that wasn't exciting enough, we have a guest host joining us. This week's episode is sponsored by After Ground, an exceptional drone, wedding, portraiture and events photography and videography company that specialises in capturing video and images on the ground and in the air in a style that is modern yet timeless, interesting and vibrant, with a focus on exhilarating moments and pure fun. Using their experience, skills and knowledge, they will work with you to ensure your videos and photos are exactly the way you want them. For more information or to chat to the team, head over to www.halftheground.com or check out their Facebook page. Check-in time! And firstly, massive welcome to Colin, who we've all got on to in a minute.
Hello, Colin.
Hello, Colin. What have I been up to this week? Riding, a lot of riding. Motorbikes, obviously. That's a different podcast.
Absolutely. Family friendly, folks.
Family friendly. Yep, family friendly. Other than the long stroke. Yes, beat you to it.
You did.
Yeah, a lot of riding this week for advanced riding because I'm getting closer to the test, which is quite scary. So I've been doing quite a bit of that. We had a lovely run last Friday up through the back end of nowhere where you work. Past Quarters a couple of times actually, and then doing into Largs for a wee sausage supper, and then come back here the Fairly Moor, which is really quite a good run.
Just to clarify for those that don't know what a sausage supper is, because we are international.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, a sausage supper is a delicacy in Scotland. A sausage being, potentially meat. I guess it's probably some sort of meat in it.
It's usually pork.
Yeah, wrapped in batter and deep fried with chips or French fries. If you're,
I know we're international, but surely everyone knows what a sausage is.
I don't know, because it depends. I mean, if you think about it, even in Scotland, we have to stress it's a link sausage and not a square sausage.
Oh, well, that's just going to confuse
Exactly,
international people. So yes, we stopped for a bag
sausage
of
and chips.
We stopped
Sausage
for a
and
bag
French
of
fries,
chips or fries,
Fries, yeah.
depending on your place of location.
But it's Scotland, so it's basically you stop for deep fried food.
Exactly. And then the other thing I did this week is I took out the Pan America on a test drive, which I'll not delve too much into because then I'll get excited and all that kind of good stuff, and we know that that's not good for me. But we will probably do something a little special on that at some point.
I'll hopefully get a wee go on it in the next few days.
Yes. Big shout out to the guys at West Coast and to Mr. Scott Henry, who put my rear end on the back of the bike, which was quite good, although he did have a giggle when he thought I was going to fall off it, just trying to get on it, because it's been a while since I've been on an adventure bike.
I don't even want anyone to be around when I try and go on an adventure bike.
I was going to do the whole stand on the peg things, but because that's what I used to do on my adventure bike. However, the kickstands it makes the bike lean ever so slightly longer or further. Is it longer? Further? Than what I was comfortable with, especially when it was parked right outside the showroom. I did not want to drop it.
Was it one of those kind of leg up, kind of kick up your leg at the front and swing over to it?
It was one of those old man trying to get the leg out. The bike
on the bike,
but that
family friendly.
But that's been me, mate. What you been up to?
Working really, bike, doing from a few miles a day on the bike. Passed his MOT, put in for his MOT.
Yay.
Big shout out to the guys at Ewan Haldane's in Greenock for getting taking the bike and doing a nice quick turnaround on the MOT, and nothing else really, just buying a bike. That was all.
What?
Just buying a bike.
Just buying a bike?
Actually, that's no strictly true, right? It's no strictly true. That makes it sound far more exciting, and I wasn't actually buying a bike. As we said in the last podcast, my son John has got his CBT coming up in July, and he has decided to purchase a bike. So
seriously?
Seriously.
What is he purchased?
He's just purchased a wee 125.
All right.
Right, just a wee 125. Because my suggestion was, and you can, your own school of thought, Colin, you'll probably have your own ideas in this. You're kicking about your 125 at the minute, aren't you, Colin? So, is it a good thing to go do a week's training and just get on a big bike, or have a 125 and get your road sense? And I've always said to John, get a 125 and get your road sense and get on the bike and, kick it around the place. So it's a wee, I'll just tell you what it is, right? It is a Mongrel 125cc.
Oh.
Yes, from Mutt Motorcycles.
From Mutt. Yeah.
The wee kind of cafe racer thing.
It's,
No, it's like
I'll just show the guys a wee picture. It's lovely.
It's like a wee. It's like a classic.
It's like a UGM.
Aye, it's a bit like a van. Aye, it's like a bit like a cross between a van and the kind of
So,
scrambler thing.
So as you know, as I think I've said before, John, who is in Outlander, Sam Hewn, who
yes.
is the leading Outlander, who is now going to start listening to Average Bikers in a Cave. So big shout out to Sam if you're listening to this, Sam. I hope you enjoy it. It's actually Sam's old 125 that he used and rode his, kind of learn to ride on before he passed his test.
Happy
So
days.
John's buying that off of Sam. So he just wanted me to go down, have a wee look at it, and look it over, and just check everything was cool. And I was like, aye, no problem.
The Mutts are nice.
Aye.
I do like the
It's got a
Mutts.
great wee sound. It's got a fantastic wee sound. Just kind of really throaty and noisy, and you'll have great fun. And it kind of suits John, John.
Aye.
So kind of suits his look. So
Suits
that's what. So yeah, so that's what I did as my check-in, which is quite exciting, And I got to kind of meet the main guy from Outlander, which is quite cool,
Happy days.
Yeah.
And he's going to now listen to the podcast, which for some reason made me quite nervous.
Well, I should never have told you that, shouldn't I? There you go. There we go.
Although I was just excited, John started following us on kind of Instagram, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
Yeah, so big shout out to John and Sam from Outlander. Please do enjoy the podcasts, and if you ever feel you want to come on as a guest, you're more than welcome.
More than welcome. Although that will put the pressure on us to come up with some really decent questions, as opposed to what we're going to go through in a minute with Colin,
Aye, absolutely.
which is just like way too
Although,
easy.
to be honest, Sam is so cool, right? He's just so
Aye.
cool. He would love those kind of questions because he just likes on his bike.
Aye.
He's a Harley rider. He's got a Harley.
Oh, he did a thing with West Coast a while back, I'm sure,
Yeah,
because
he
I
did.
think they did guess the rider and who it was.
But
and
he's
stuff
also
like
just bought a Triumph. So
that. Oh,
we both like
what one?
the Speed Twin.
I thought he'd maybe bought a Steve McQueen Scrambler.
No, he's pretty classic and
Aye.
just kind of cool looking. So didn't gonna go too funky. Speed Twin's really cool. Nice and
Speed
fast.
Twin's nice.
It's
Speed
lovely.
Twin is nice. It's a good thing.
So happy riding, Sam, and hope you enjoy the podcast if you're listening in.
Good stuff. We do have a third member. I know.
Family
And
friendly.
this is like the most innuendo laden start to a podcast
It
ever.
started about episode 4 with Long Stroke, and then it's kind of went drastically downhill. I'm looking forward to the After Dark version of this show. It's going to be an absolute nightmare.
It'll be like OTT versus Tiswas, and only people of a certain age will get that.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? But
Aye,
they-
and our international people will definitely not get
No,
what this
definitely
was. So yeah, we've got a guest host this week. We've got Colin, who is we all used to work together. I've known Colin for quite longer than I care to remember. Put it that way. And
Good job you said remember, not
I know, but
just longer than you care for. Do you know what I mean?
that would have been bad actually, wouldn't it? Aye. 'Cause- and then the door shuts in the background. And we're back to 2. But yeah, so we've obviously got a kind of tight group of riders in our little kind of what was the motorcycle club.
Yep.
And we've been begging, I think, for a while trying to get someone in. And Colin was like, I'll come in and do it. Aye, I don't mind. And it was like, oh, excellent, here we go. Somebody else to fill gaps of drivel with more drivel.
Exactly. Yep.
So no pressure. But we obviously, since Colin's obviously new, we won't put Colin to the sword as such.
No,
but it's
no.
good that I think that our lovely listeners get to appreciate and understand and get to know Colin a little bit better.
Absolutely. And Colin's at a different stage in his riding career from the two of us. Which
It's a
is
different viewpoint.
different viewpoints.
Aye.
So it'll be good, especially if you're out there and you're, I mean, for all we know, Colin could very, very soon be doing something very stressful regarding bikes, some sort of exam type thing, for all we know. But we wouldn't like to, we'd maybe just, and if he was, I would wish him a big good luck in that.
That would be great. Yeah, thanks very much, Ian. Yeah, yeah. I might well be doing some testing tomorrow. Having completed my Mod 1 last week, I'll be doing my Mod 2 tomorrow at lunchtime.
Note to listeners, by the time you listen to this, Colin will have passed his Mod 2.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
And
Hope so.
And Colin will be taking days off work to go bike shopping.
Exactly.
Colin's already got days booked off work for bike shopping.
Good man.
Lad. And if anyone out there doesn't know what a Mod 2 or a Mod 1 is,
Then listen
go
to the
back
first
to
podcast.
episode 1.
Episode 1, please. Thank you.
We're not going to go through that again. That took up days of our lives. So welcome aboard, Colin. And
Thank you.
we have just got a random 6 questions
Yep.
that are all about you. No pressure.
And you're under no obligation to answer them honestly,
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
especially around your age. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So question 1.
Question 1.
Colin, what's your age?
I am. Oh, that's actually a really good question. I'd struggle with this every time. I think I am 47, but
See?
I'm not quite sure.
See, that's what happens when we get old.
Yeah.
We're all in
No,
that group.
I'm actually wrong. I'm 46. I'll be 47 this year.
And was maths your strong point at school? Yeah.
It wasn't. No.
Oh, there you go.
No. And despite the fact that my job's now analysis, it's still not my strong point.
Disclaimer for anyone listening for where Colin works, saying that was obviously just meant as humour.
I know.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
I
Yeah,
know
definitely.
Colin's boss, and I
Aye.
don't think Colin's boss will be listening. Question 2. Do you want to take this one?
How long
Stroke.
Family friendly.
have you been riding your bike?
I have been riding since June last year.
Here we go. So a
lo-
newbie.
A
1
lockdown
year.
baby.
Yes.
I am a lockdown baby. When we went into lockdown at the very start, I decided I wanted to learn to ride. I've been wanting to learn to ride since I was in my teens, and I've never really had the chance or got round to it or been able to afford it before. And at the start of lockdown, I decided I was just going to do it. I didn't have any reason not to do it anymore, and I'm incredibly glad I did.
It's the best feeling ever, isn't it?
Amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great.
There's no day that I still don't go on my bike and go,
Yeah. So sitting out in the garden with my girlfriend, if we go to sit out in the garden in the sunshine, I'll take the cover off the bike just so that I can look at it while I'm sitting there.
yes.
That's devotion, isn't it?
That is
That is devotion.
Aye. It's just common sense, actually.
Yeah. See, I'd say I don't even bother. I just go and look at the bike. I don't bother sitting with anyone else.
Susan, if you're listening. What are you riding at the minute, Colin?
I am currently still on my 125. I have a KTM RC 125.
Ooh, the
Nice.
sport bike version.
Yeah,
It's
looks great. Looks
Sport in
magic.
inverted commas. But
I think it's the quickest 125 on the market.
Mhm.
according to Google, it is. It's
Aye.
the quickest 4-stroke 125 that
think
you can get in the UK.
It was the battle between that and what's the Yamaha one?
The R125.
The R125 or YZRF, whatever they call it. But aye, the R125. But I think KTM does shave it.
I think
ever
so,
so slightly.
yeah. That was part of the reason for buying it.
The fact that it went fast.
Yeah, I kind of Googled what's the quickest 125 you can get, and without going for a 2-stroke, that's about as quick as you
I mean,
get.
to be honest, obviously, if that's the kind of type of bike you're into and you're looking for, you're best getting something that you want speed with anyway.
Mhm.
You know, because you're probably going to pick a fast bike. You know, once you pass anyway, so you want to just get used to that position and that kind of handling of these types of bikes anyway. So I know 125 is slightly different, but
It's one of the ones. You're probably at this stage already. You know what I mean? Because you're using it all the time. But it's surprisingly how quick you then start to ride that bike at its maximum
Oh, absolutely.
all the time,
Oh,
and you find you're
absolutely.
going places that you normally go without letting off the throttle because there's no need to let off the throttle.
Yeah, it does spend quite a lot of its time like pinned open. Yeah, it will only do like 80 miles an hour flat out down a hill with a wind at my back. So there aren't many A roads in Scotland that you can't take at 65, 70 miles an hour. So you do tend to spend quite a
Yeah.
lot of the time with it
Aye,
at
up
full
there.
throttle.
Which is what you want, because then you're at least getting the maximum out of that bike. There's nothing worse than buying a bike that goes, you can get, you get maximum BHP at 11,000.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I'm never going to ride at 11,000 unless I'm on a track.
Aye.
You know what I mean? There's no point in me going out and buying a S1000RR M Sport. You know what I mean? What's the point? I'm never going to ride that. You know what I mean? At that level. So
What's your dream bike then? Because you kind of hinted what you get into biking. You've been into it since a teen, but what's your dream bike?
I don't know. I guess it's going to be some kind of sports bike. And obviously, when you talk about dream bikes, there's dream bikes that have have gone, and then there's current bikes
Oh,
that you're like.
you're allowed to go for gone bikes as well.
I'm allowed to go for gone bikes.
In matter of fact, when we did this, we went for one old and one new.
So we did that, that's right.
So there you go. I'm going to really throw a spanner in the works and go again one old and one
Well
new.
done. Nice
It's
one.
like-
Good.
So I think if I was to go out and just I had, you know, I didn't have to worry about the finances and I could just pick a bike, I probably wouldn't pick the most expensive one. I think I would probably have a ZX10R. I think that would be what I would like. Nice cup.
Put the cup, didn't you?
I was just checking I had the cup left.
Did you throw that for the other side of the room?
There's some weight in that cup anyway.
I know. They're good. That's a good Disney cups.
It was a good cup.
Touchdown. I guess there's also, you know, quite a lot of older bikes as well. I think what got me into biking was when I was, or what always made me want to ride was when I was a small kid. I was absolutely enthralled by people like Eddie Kidd, Evil Knievel, Barry Sheen. Barry Sheen was my biggest hero when I was a child.
I loved Barry Sheen when I was younger, watching all the stuff.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So to me, a motorbike's a sports bike. That's what a motorbike looks like. And all these other ones they're still motorbikes and they're still great and they're still fast and there's nothing wrong with any motorbike, from a scooter to a Super Duke 1290, whatever you like. But
Which they go, by the way.
yeah,
They seriously go.
but yeah, to me, a sports bike is how a motorbike looks. That's the image I have in my head when I think of a bike.
Obviously getting slightly off track, but I was watching a video earlier, and it's a guy called Richie Vida, and he was obviously he rides an Africa Twin, but that's no his main bike's a Honda VFR, the V4 one. And for all it's not a
You know, I love
sports,
Honda VFR.
I know, but it's not a sports bike as such. It's a bit more a sports tourer,
Yeah,
but I
tourer,
do
yeah.
have that same. You see when you see all the fairing and all that on it, and you look at it and go, especially his, because the two exhausts come up right under the back seat, and you just look at it and go, wow, it's a stunning bike, an absolutely stunning bike. And there's a couple of guys in our advanced riding group have got them, and when they turn up on them, you go, oh man, I do like that bike. Ain't good for a pill. I don't think I got a pillion on it, but aye. I get that same kind of, that's what a motorbike should look like kind of feeling about it, even though I don't ride a sports bike.
I think you're right. I think, I mean, my images of motorcycles are probably more kind of classic films and stuff like that. So something like the Speedmaster, right, which you just know that it's like one of my dream bikes, and
Aye.
but it's got that old school rocking up down Brighton Beach as one of the rockers, you know, ready to, you know, that kind of that classic. Like, so that to me is what my image of being on a bike's about, you know. But I get what you mean. But I did have a Ninja for a while, and that's when I realised adrenaline was brown. So you know, I absolutely love that bike.
Other than your rainy day in a bandit.
I've been reading about that's another story about which we covered.
Yes,
So,
I think that's on episode 1 as well.
episode 1, yeah. Go back to episode 1 if you haven't read it. Listen to it yet. Yeah. Dream trip or road, Colin?
Oh, well, obviously I've only been riding a year, so I've not done too many roads. I think my favourite road at the moment is the road that runs from Tyndrum to Oban.
Nice.
It's nice. It's got lots of big open bends. You can see long distance down the road, and all the big bends are shell gripped, so it's great fun for getting down as far as you possibly can on a tiny 125. Dream roads. I think I've probably driven a few roads that I would think of as dream roads on a bike, but I've not been on a bike. Been in a car, and I've always thought I'd like to come back and do this on a bike. So I did some roads in Canada a couple of years ago when I was back. My sat nav took me off the motorway or off the highway because it was busy, and took me some of the back roads, and it was absolutely incredible. Not many bends, but the scenery and stuff is just absolutely out of this world.
There you go. That's a shout out to. I know we've got listeners in the
Across the pond.
Ontario area. So
Yeah, I
they'll be
think-
loving that.
Yeah.
I think it was Regional Route 48. I think.
There you go.
I think
If anyone
if
is,
anyone in Ontario is listening, there you go.
that's
You'll know
what we
where that
need.
is.
We need pictures or some sort of video of that.
And also, I had to. It wasn't a hardship. I went to India a couple of years ago for work, and I would absolutely love to ride a motorbike through Mumbai.
Really?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
No, my
Nah,
own bike though.
no,
I'd
no.
rather about somebody else's bike. Just in
Oh,
case.
absolutely. Somebody else's bike, not my own.
Although by all accounts, you know what I mean, because I've. Did you go? Have you been?
No, I never got to go now.
I've been to India, and no, just no. However, apparently once you get out of the city, apparently some of the twisties, the back roads in Mumbai are absolutely tremendous.
So when I was there, we went out to a place called Lonavala, which is like a big resort in the mountains just outside Mumbai. I think it's about 50 or 60 miles from Mumbai. And to get there, we had to go on what they refer to as the motorway. It bears no resemblance to the motorways that we would expect as a motorway. And their attitude to junctions and slip roads is very, very casual. So if I'm driving down my side of the motorway and the junction I want is 250 yards down the road on the other side of the motorway, I literally just cross onto the other side of the motorway at the first available gap and drive down the wrong side. So you could feasibly meet a truck coming the wrong way on the motorway, which is interesting. But once you get out of that and you get up into the mountains, the roads are absolutely incredible. Lots of hairpin bends, huge drops down the side, and random animals wandering about. It's definitely a
random animals. That's a bit like the Green Whaley on a Saturday morning.
It does, actually.
I tell you what, you don't even know, you need to go that far for random animals. I was out on Wednesday night and we were crossing from Lugton to Sturton.
Aye.
And there was chicken, just a random chicken, walking down the street. And we were like, oh, we need to slow down. You know what I mean? Luckily enough, there was nothing behind us, there was nothing coming, so we were fine. However, the kind of lead rider did say, you should have just hit it. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but I really don't want to be picking feathers and guts and all sorts out of my bike. Thanks very much. And then we got to Sturton, turned to Sturton to head towards Newton Mearns, which again is a kind of borough of Glasgow. And again is a lovely, twisty, quite a technical little road that leads you out of there. And we literally hit the national speed limit, went around the first bend, and there's a cow walking down the street. And you're going, yeah, I'm kind of ready now to kind of go to these places that have random wild animals. I honestly think that they were plants. I think somebody stuck them out there just to see how we'd react to random farmyard animals just gaping and wandering down the street. But I'm you. I think the twisties in Mumbai might be quite deceptively picturesque.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Once you get out of Mumbai and you start to get into the mountains, it's really, really beautiful out there.
There you go.
Nice.
And that, people, was Colin. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to wear that button out.
Good.
The
Excellent.
rate we're going, I'm going to wear that button out.
Every time I pick up that cup to, I'll put it back down. Use that button so that
Thought,
you get
I'm going to leave that in as well, because
I know.
we're going to talk about it, right? Just so that I've got to leave it in and I can't edit it out. There's some stuff I can edit out, but that I'm going to purposely leave in just so that people listening can go, what the hell are they talking about? But welcome aboard, Colin.
Thank you very much.
This is now your opportunity just to kind of throw your random brain farts out there, the same as we do.
Do not be shy. Just chip in whenever we're chatting about stuff. You know.
And that was checking. And now it's time. I'm going to do it again because I did it last week and loved it.
Go.
It's the news.
Sorry, I was too busy dancing there. Sorry. So, first up, we have the Kawasaki Auto Clutch patent. So, as the title may suggest, this is a patent for an auto clutch. So, we've got loads of things that you stop laughing. You're taking a drink of.
I was putting the cup down. I was
Putting
trying
the cup
not to
down
laugh.
quietly.
I was going to just put the cup down. I went, oh, better no.
So, as you know, your bikes nowadays come with lots of little wee gadgets to try and make the ride, in inverted commas, easier, air quotes.
Yep.
So, quick shifters and auto blippers, that's what she said, are the norm these days. So, the problem tends to be that sometimes they work great, and other times they are like very dry beef, a bit jerky.
Yes. Anyone that's ridden a GS with a quick shifter will understand what it's like to have a quick shifter on a tractor.
I actually have never used a quick shifter or anything like that. Never used them. So I'm speaking from a complete platform of ignorance here.
BMW 1000 XR,
Yeah.
probably the smoothest quick shifter I think that's out there just now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people kind of saying the same. And yet, when you go up to the bigger bikes, it's just horrible.
Aye. I like the idea of it, but I like using my clutch. I just feel as if I know what I'm doing.
Aye. No, I
Coming
totally
from
agree.
a platform of ignorance. And how do you stop this jerkiness? You use your clutch. Yeah. So, what Kawasaki are working on is an actuator to help this process by activating and deactivating the clutch in line with the quick shifter and the blipper. So it's actually a nice blend from a traditional to a kind of DCT. Yeah.
Well, it's almost a semi-automatic then.
So it's almost like a semi-automatic. Aye.
Aye.
A semi.
A semi-automatic. Aye.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I suppose they can't. I don't think they register the patent as a semi-automatic.
No.
They just the guys in the patent office might go Kawasaki lost it.
Aye.
You know,
Aye. So
but aye, that's almost what it's like. It just engages the clutch ever so slightly. I don't know why I'm doing that with my finger, but it engages the clutch ever so slightly, just to kind of take that jerkiness off
Yep.
it.
And for those of you that want to know what Darren was doing with his finger, that he was so keen to not want to do with his finger, just use your imagination.
Check on Instagram.
Exactly, check on Instagram. In the application, there is a description of how it could also be beneficial on a hybrid bike.
Ooh.
So, and that's a cheeky wee giveaway that Kawasaki are looking at.
A hybrid.
Or hybrid.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how a hybrid would perform.
So go in full NASA mode and watch this space.
Aye.
Yeah, do you like that? Do you like that?
Aye,
That's like the biggest dad joke so far.
So the only thing that comes into my head when we talk about hybrid bikes is my girlfriend drives a small Toyota Yaris hybrid, and it's a tiny car, and it literally wouldn't pull you out of bed in the morning, but it weighs an absolute ton because it's got an engine and
the
a huge
battery.
battery.
Is it not quick off the mark though with the battery?
So from 0 to 30, it's like absolute lightning. It takes off like a scalded cat and then hits 30 miles an hour and goes. It's quite good at traffic lights and stuff when you get like people coming up beside you and revving their engines and stuff, and you like pull off and leave them behind you silently. And
For the first few seconds, and then
for the
they go-
first
and
few
then they go,
seconds, and obviously it's a CVT, so there's no gears to change, so it pulls away smoothly.
Aye.
So you never get that. You know, if anyone does pull away slightly in front of you, by the time they've changed gear, you've went past them. So it does have its advantages at slow speeds, but for the size of car it is, the weight is absolutely incredible.
This goes back to the whole swappable battery thing.
Aye,
Because
yeah.
if they're involved in the whole swappable battery, will they keep the weight down? And if they keep the weight down, the chances are the battery would be that wee bit smaller. So then you're right, probably not to 30 or whatever, it would be quick, but then you're cutting across to the normal combustion engine, unless they flip it and try and do it the other way and put like a little single engine in it
and run
and
them
put all the
kinda
weight on the
side to
battery.
side.
Put all the-
Aye.
Aye,
on the
it would be
battery,
interesting
yeah.
to see. But it's just the fact that we went combustion, electric, and now this is going to be a kind of in the middle.
'Cause it's funny because we've never really even thought about hybrid as an option, did we? We've never really discussed hybrid.
No.
Such for that very reason, you know, why would you put two different types of engine in a car or
Yeah.
in a bike? You know, when you're limited with space and weight and all these kind of things. Anyway, so
Aye,
that
but
will be really interesting to see what they come up with. Actually.
Aye, even putting something like a wee 350 single in it or something, and then having a
mean,
reasonable sized battery.
Even if you just look at an electric push bike, do you know what I mean? How much heavier and bigger they are.
Oh, aye.
Just to stick that wee motor in the back wheel, maybe a bit of cabling, you know. So yeah, interesting. Watch this space, ladies and gentlemen.
Aye, we'll maybe cover that. We'll need to do an electric special again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe need to call in some favours and see if we can get ourselves out in some electric bikes.
Zeros.
Yeah, we tripped into the
Zeros.
Trident experience down in England. That'd be cool.
Oh, aye, or the English Motor Company. They've got a
Oh,
few.
aye,
They
aye.
do, I think, Zeros and Energy Cars. So,
Yeah, so everybody keep subscribing, tell your friends, so we've got a massive following, and then we can get all these freebies, please. Thank you. What have you got next?
Cannonball Challenge. So again, I want to do this.
Oh, I would love to do this.
I would really like to do this. So there's a company out there called Rally Moto who have organised a number of events for adventure bike riders, but they've come up with a new challenge for people that don't like to get their bike dirty. I'm putting my hand up. That's me, because it's a bugger to clean, and then everybody else wants their cars cleaned while I'm at it. But the difference with this one is again, there's no dirt, there's no green laning, and it's all on road. Now, where I find it exciting is the whole route is plotted out on a road book. Now, anyone that has followed the Dakar Rally or has even watched like Charlie Boorman's race to Dakar will know what a road book is. But if you don't, it used to be what I can only describe as toilet roll, with the instructions all printed into it, and then you have it in this roller thing. And then as you went on, it kind of wound on and it gave you directions. So it was like an old-fashioned sat-nav, really, right? But it had obviously different information. But Rally Moto have got an app that brings it up in the same way, which is like super cool. So this challenge is it's a 300-mile route through Wales, which again is a bit of a bummer because look, we're nowhere near Wales. There's points awarded for accuracy of the navigation rather than the speed. So obviously not encouraging people to constantly be riding with a bit down or the full throttle all the way through Wales. There's also, just as it is in the Dakar, there will be timed sections with points lost for you being outside the time, which is again it is to me it feels like the Dakar without having to spend all that money, the fear of dying and the fear of having to wash your bike.
Right, absolutely. I'm not a big fan of sand.
No, not on a bike anyway. There are talks for having longer distances or doing ones with longer distances, possible overnights, maybe even the length of the country one. But the event's supposed to start June or July time. But if anyone's interested, go on to rallymoto.co.uk and there's a whole kind of section there all about it. But it just, the idea of having a road book, I think that's the bit that gets me. It's not so much the roads and all that kind of stuff. I think it's more having the road book. And just having this app that looks like an actual, road book, like Dakar road book, just makes me go, oh, I want that. Even if they did that as a sat nav, I would buy that. I would buy that. I'd be like, yep, I'll have that, thanks.
Yes.
But so the Cannonball Challenge, well worth a look, and hopefully they'll bring it up here so that we can get a chance to do it up here.
I know, somewhere like the North Coast 500 would be ideal to kind of pick bits and bobs like that to do it.
So many good roads up here, we could easily do it up here.
Aye.
Or just bring out the app and allow us to do it yourself so that you could have like a group function so that if we all had the app we could then say, right, we're going to do this challenge, there's the thing, one is can take the time to plot where the different places are and we get points for, and then you just share it amongst the group you and go, right, you've got a fortnight to do it, right, so you can take your time and go and do it at your own leisure, but you need to go and do it. So but
cool,
might do it. Next up.
Does sound fun. Do you have to have a Burt Reynolds moustache though?
No, but I think you get bonus points for Burt Reynolds moustache.
Oh, that's good. That's all right then.
I think you do get, but and if you pick up a Hitchhiking Bride, that's an extra 100 points.
Oh, cool. Any Hitchhiking Brides out there interested? Let us know.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just draw a wee bail over that now.
Hey.
So next up, funnily enough, it's a new Triumph. You know me. I'm not.
You don't like Triumph?
I'm not a big fan of Triumphs. No.
Do you want me to do this? You don't like Triumph?
No.
All right, okay. No, you go there.
Anyway, it's and I haven't spent hours drooling over the teaser trailers that have been on for weeks and weeks, popping up on Facebook about this particular bike, which is the new Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS, which is just, and I did say that the Speedmaster was my kind of dream bike, but I'd take one of these. Triumph, if you're listening, take one of these. Absolutely.
Aye, definitely.
Yeah, if you want to just maybe just lend me just for a couple of years, I'll get back to you how I like it. That'd be good. So the Super Naked World has a new beast arriving, and no, it's not Darren. It's the Speed Triple 1200 RS. So with the outgoing 2018 148 brake horsepower 1050 RS, it's now going to be 177.5 brake horsepower 1200 RS. And this increase in power makes it a serious contender up against the likes of the MT10. That's 158 brake horsepower, 177 brake horsepower for the KTM 1290 Super Duke R, and the 173 brake horsepower Aprilia 210. Is that right? 210?
210. Aye. So I'll tell you what else, that 1290 Super Duke is rapid. It's scarily quick.
Have you been on one?
Aye. And it's scarily quick.
Nice.
So this thing...
Aye. So, and yet it's still got this beautiful classic British old school look about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so what are we getting? We're getting 10 kilograms lighter at 198 kilograms wet with an 830mm seat height.
Oh, that's you ruined.
That's me ruined. Can he do it? Oh, well, I'll just go back to my Speedmaster. That's fine.
Platforms.
High heels.
Get a set of Daytonas. They've got a wee lift in them.
RuPaul's Speed Triple. Okay, high heels. That'll be fine. 92 pound foot torque and 15.5 litre fuel tank. All right. I've just given Dan an image he never ever wanted, but that's fine.
No.
New electronic rider aids such as lean sensitive traction control, and then this is controversial because there'll be a lot of people out here that'll go, why would you ever want this? But it's an anti-wheelie control.
But again, like we said before, you know, a bike's quick when they put anti-wheelie on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally understand. I totally get the anti-wheelie thing. I think if you've been riding a long time, I don't. It's probably not of that much an advantage to you. But for newer riders like me that are about to move from a 125 to something a bit more powerful, and I've been riding for a year and been used to just being able to pin the throttle. At some point, I'm going to do that on my big bike and absolutely terrify myself, and have an anti-wheelie at that point is probably a really good thing.
I actually do vividly remember doing that when I went from when I passed the test and I bought a GSX, Suzuki GSX, and it was only GSX F 600, right? So it wasn't a fast bike because I'm not a fast rider. I'm not.
It was not a full blown jigsaw.
But going from a really kind of under, performance bike to something that just gives you a bit of oomph. And the first time I took off at lights and the front wheel went up, and I honestly did cake my pants. I really did. It was just, but I didn't drop it. That was another time. So, but yeah, but I think there'll be a lot of experienced riders out there that go like that. Oh, for goodness sake! Because I remember when I got the Triumph and I was chatting to one of my friends about it, and they went, "What do you want traction control for?" And I'm like, "Nah, can we be happy with traction control? Thanks very much."
Aye.
Well, I think the thing with all the modern bikes now that come with traction control and wheelie control and all these things, they're all switch offable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to take the bike to a track and ride it with no ABS, no wheelie control, no traction control, you can do that. But on the street, you take every safety advantage you can get. So if that's ABS, traction control, anti-wheelie mode, whatever it may be, then
take it.
Use it.
I think on the track you'd still want anti-wheelie on because it gets you that quick woof. You can get that quick start if you're no used, as you say, if you've not been riding for a while and don't have the technique or whatever to be able to get away and hold it down and whatever, then that's just an added bonus. If the machine's got it, use it.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes with two-stage cornering, ABS, all the usual stuff. Quick shifter up and down, quick shifter again there, but not a Kawasaki clutch patent. 5 rider modes: rain, road, sport track, and fully customizable user ones, which is way more common in a lot of bikes now. Isn't all these different rider modes?
Ride by wire, kind of
ride by wire stuff.
Thinking that.
Yeah. Brembo brakes and Olin shocks, fully adjustable, not semi-active. A new colour dash which can do navigation and also control a GoPro. It's quite cool.
That's quite cool.
And it's a lot of bike for 15 grand or 15,100.
That's not bad.
It does.
That's a contender, Colin.
It does sound like a lot of bike for that kind of money. It's got a nice big engine, it's got plenty of power, it's got loads of toys, and it's a Triumph. So
it's got that classic Triumph look about it. So
177 brake, and it's under 200 kilos. You know what I mean? Albeit you put, we're all variant sizes, but we put a body on it. But even at that, still that's pushing nearly 600 brake per ton. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's too tall for me, and there isn't a Triumph dealership in Glasgow anyway. So there isn't any options about lowering the seat or anything, is there?
It didn't say whether there was options to lower the seat, but I would imagine that there's always options to lower it, whether they either scoop some of the actual seat out. It depends how much of a seat is on it.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? If it's a bit more sporty, it might have less cushioning.
Yeah, it might just have a little thin seat that there's not really much that you can take away.
Aye, failing that, it's one of those ones. It's whether there's an adjustable clip or something that can lower it, or the other option is they do something with the actual lowering of the suspension. But if it's fully adjustable Olins, I imagine you kind of in your own destiny then to go and lower it. As long as if you can go and take a link at it, because why would you?
Aye, exactly. Anyway, a beautiful piece of machinery in my humble opinion. There you go.
Yeah, we should just get a wee day trip up to Triumph just to see it.
Aye,
sounds like
we should do the wee day with the one in Carlisle just to make it a day trip.
Or we just book to actually go to Hinckley.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I'd be up for that. We podcast from there.
I'm up for that. I'm game for that because it's not that far away.
No, it's no, absolutely not.
4 hours, 4 and a bit hours.
Okay, well let's take that offline.
Oh my god! Aye, can I say that? It's after 5:30. I'm going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Absolutely.
Yamaha Retro 125. Yamaha have done it again. They've taken a big bike and they've made it smaller. The new XSR 125. I don't know why you just don't give them names.
I know.
That's why I like the Mutt. The Mutt's just got a Mutt logo. That's ideal. Instead of all these numbers. But it's an Z. No, it's not Z. I did it again. It's an XSR 125. So it's a baby version of the 700 and the 900, which is a tall bike, by the way. Again, no use for you. Using the same engine, though, that's currently in the R125 and the MT125, they just stuck it in this new chassis for the, which, again, it does look like just a smaller version, but very retro looking. 15 brake horsepower with a variable valve actuation, supplying plenty of torque, which is quite good for a...
Do you think it's got that wheelie thing, though, on it?
It didn't say if it had anti-wheelie control. However, it does have single disc brakes and dual channel ABS. So it's quite possibly maybe it's an extra. Maybe it's an optional extra if you buy like an S model or something.
Maybe it's not so much an anti-wheelie as if you do a wheelie, it gives you a wee cheer.
Aye. Aye. You just hear, what? You know what I mean? Aye.
I think they're going to sell a ton of these.
I think they will as well.
And the reason is that anytime I enter any biker forums for 125s and people are looking for new bikes, anyone over 5'11" wants a Varadero.
Yes. And how hard is it to get a Varadero?
The price of them is going up and up and up, and they're getting more and more rare. They're really hard to find. And if these are anywhere near as good, they will sell a load of them.
So it's an 810mm seat height, which is fairly tall. I think the MT125 was about 805, and that was tall because that's what I went for. And again, being 6 foot, that was the option that I had. It was either that or the KTM, the 125. No, the RC, the other one, the Duke. Again, it was purely because of the height, because everything else was just tiny. And again, I would have looked like a circus monkey on a trike, and it's, I mean, riding the wife's Ninja looks ridiculous. So I do think you're right, mate. I think anyone that's over that kind of 5'10", 5'11" mark is definitely going to go in and go, oh, look at the size of that thing. I'll have that, unless they want the dirt bike thing. There is a couple of accessory kits for this bike, which are things like extra headlight cover, fly screen, engine cover. I mean, just little things to make it, to touch it up a wee bit.
I make it a bit chunkier.
Aye, just to make it look different.
A bit less like 125.
Now, this will excite you.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in black, red, and your favourite colour of bike?
Yellow.
Yes. And it is yellow. It's super cool looking in yellow. Aye. I looked at it and went, oh, I quite like one of them. If it was near 125.
15 brake horsepower.
15 brake horsepower. You know what I mean? Now, again, you'll know this and you'll appreciate this. Yamaha and KTM are definitely at the higher end of the 125 market. This thing's starting at 4,450 on the road. 4,450 quid on the road. Now, when you think about it, you could go out and buy a Royal Enfield.
My Suzuki JSX-F, brand new when I bought it, when I passed my test, was cheaper than that.
It's frightening, isn't it? It's a lot of money.
That was 2004 to be fair, but still, you know.
Which is great if you're going to do your CVT all the time and just keep renewing your CVT. You have no interest in going to a big bike. Happy days. That's, you know what I mean, plenty of bike. And I never had a problem with my Yamaha. It was solid enough. And I imagine you'll be the same with your KTM.
Yeah, it's great. There's no problem.
Wife was the same with her Honda. I mean, those kind of big brands, they are bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean, and John, if you're out there, I'm sure the Mutt is amazing, mate. And I'm with you. I think the Mutt looks awesome. I'm just a bit too tall for it. But aye, it's on sale now. I think it's a good addition. I think it's something different to the 125 market.
Aye.
Because it was getting a bit no stagnant, but I think if you wanted something a wee bit different, you were kind of heading down the Chinese route. And even at that, yeah, there's still, I know people say, oh, it's different now, and you mean reliability's better, but
I think they are improving. I think there's definitely been an improvement in them, but all you have to do is look at one that's a year old, that's been living in Glasgow and not been in a garage.
And no had ACF 50 or something like that on it.
90% rust.
Aye. And it's the thing, if you want something big that's not going to rust, that's stand the test of time, you're having to go for a Varadero.
Yep.
And they are like hen's teeth.
They are.
Do you know what I mean? And even if you find one, they're no $4,000,
No.
but they're not they're 2.5.
The used bike market just now, especially 125s, the prices are absolutely ridiculous. They've gone through the roof since we started to come out of lockdown. Nobody wants to use public transport, so the used 125 market at the moment is
It's mental.
You're actually, if you're looking to buy a decent used 125, if you can save up an extra 500 quid, you'd be well just going and buying a new one, because that's how close the used prices are to new bikes at the moment.
And the thing is because the used prices are holding them, your actual depreciation on a brand new one probably isn't as severe as what it used to be.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Sticking on Yamaha,
The new R7.
and this thing looks stunning.
They're bridging the gap between the R3 and the R1 with a new R7. Colin's starting to drill. You notice that? He's kind of drilling a wee bit there.
Once we get by the news, Colin, I'll go and get the pics and show you.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
I've seen the R7. I've seen some videos online. I've seen some pictures. It's a lovely looking bike. It's no an R7.
Oh,
Interesting.
controversy.
Interesting.
You much prefer the R6?
I think so. I know there's an argument if you look at like the R125, that's a single. But to me, an R bike's an inline 4.
You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
okay. So it's replacing the R6. The new model is based on the popular and successful MT7. You don't need us to tell you that it will be a sports bike, in case it wasn't obvious. So Colin wasn't drilling, he was actually spitting chips. That's what he was doing. There we go. Yamaha haven't messed with the engine too much. It's the 689cc parallel twin. It was such a successful engine, so they've stuck with that, but it's not in line. There are a number of additions though. New ECU, new air filters, revised exhaust and fresh fuel mapping, gear ratio tweaks, new slipper clutch and optional quick shifter. Again, quick shifters again. New LCD dash keeps the console modern and flashy. Ooh, modern and flashy. Oh, modern and flashy.
I don't know if...
No,
I don't know
flashy's not really a good
Flashy's
ASMR,
not
is
really
it?
good a word at that level, is it?
Yeah.
Flashy's kind of...
What about LCD dash?
Aye, that kind of...
Okay, got that. Clip-on handlebars. That sounds a bit like a Wayne's bike, but anyway, clip-on handlebars and race bike like rubber. You know what I mean? And a Kendall on the back, no. Front and rear, and it sounds like it could be a good middleweight sports bike. Yeah. The USA have it on the market at a pre-tax price of $8,999, which is about $6,500, which is no going to be what it costs here. Let's be honest. Couple of test rides have given it very good reviews. Michael Gilbert for Cycling World talks about when talking about the impressive chassis, says, I don't know what this guy sounds like. Any Apex anytime feel that boasts confidence in a way even track prepped MT-07s couldn't.
I think he's American.
He's American, is he?
I think he's American.
I don't have a clue who this guy is. So,
No.
okay. And any Apex anytime feel that boasts. No, do you know what? We've got listeners across the pond there. I apologise right now for even attempting that. Yes. And any Apex anytime feel that boosts confidence in a way that even track prepped MT-07s couldn't. There you go.
We're international viewers, right?
We're either going to
Tune in to hear the dulcet tones of us from the west coast of Scotland.
Yeah, murdering their dialect. Sorry, apologies. And then Troy. Do you know how to pronounce his surname?
I think it's Sheehan.
Troy Sheehan from motorcycle.com adds, changing direction on the R7 couldn't be easier as it flicks from side to side with the swiftness I expect from the R3 or a small bike. So, a couple of good comments here, but Colin, controversial Colin, as we're going to call you from now on.
That's
Controversial
Colin.
Colin.
That's controversial Colin.
Yeah, has thrown a wee spanner in the work there about the excitement of this bike, but it will be really interesting to see it in the flesh. With all those impressive specs, Colin, are you still raging about it?
No, I'm not raging about it. I don't care that much. But,
I'm not raging about it. I just wish they'd put an actual inline 4 in it and stop.
Well,
Push it in a bit.
I think it's a move towards fuel efficiency and all that kind of
Making
stuff.
that a wee bit lighter.
Which is
all that kind of
not
stuff.
really what you want from a bike that you're buying it's more or less a race bike, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I think a lot of people will be looking at that kind of middleweight market for something they can take to track.
Yeah.
So something like
Yeah.
an R7 or the new, is it a new
The-
650R?
Or the RS 660.
Aye, it's those kind of things that folk
Mm.
will go, do you know what, I don't want to pay all this money for, you mean an R1 or something like that to take to a track and potentially gravel it, you know what I mean, and ruin it. I'll buy something that maybe costs, I'll buy something that's going to run about the 5-6 grand mark, you know what I mean. If you've got that kind of money to play about with a bike, go to a track, fair play to you, can you be my best friend? But it's one of those ones, I get where you're coming from. The inline 4 sounds better than the parallel twin. You know what I mean. The only thing I think that for me, the only thing that sounds slightly better than the inline 4 is the triple.
Aye.
The triple sounds, you know what I mean. But I get that the inline 4 for me does sound better.
I suppose one of the advantages of being the twin is that you won't have to rev the nuts off it to
That's
sit
true.
in the power band.
You'll get the power band easier. Who knows? We'll need to chat up some of the Yamaha or a certain showroom not too far from here, but 25 miles from here. We'll see if we can get out on one when it arrives.
That might be worth a wee chat.
Aye, either I'll just grow up here and buy an R1.
Well,
But you're still going, well, I know, but a Fireblade's nicer. You know, I know. We could go off on a whole tangent here, but there you go. Anyway, that
was the news.
I see you were sleeping there.
Sorry,
Narcolepsy
I know,
kicked
I
in
know,
there.
that's all right.
That thud wasn't the cup earlier, it was your head.
It was my
your
head hitting
dozed
the
off.
Oh, there you go.
And now,
The big question.
Oh, here you gave your wee thing a wiggle there. That
I
was
know,
good.
I know, I did.
You didn't wiggle that last week.
No, I didn't. No, I was feeling a bit under the weather.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a first for 2021. Darren's wiggled his thing.
Family friendly.
Family friendly.
This week's big question. What apps do you use for your bike? Which sounds dull, but actually it's quite exciting because
There's a lot of apps out there you don't even know are out there.
you would
know
not
what I mean?
believe, by the way, the minute you put motorbike into one of the app stores,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, or the Play Store, it just goes nuts. You know what I mean, you can spend, well, I did spend hours in there going, ooh, no.
What does this one do?
Ooh.
We've picked some of the best, haven't we? That
Aye,
that-
we've picked some of the decent ones.
Aye. Then a
that-
couple of wee kind of random ones that you maybe wouldn't associate with motorbikes, but
aye,
actually
and
are
if and
pretty
we'll,
damn handy.
we'll preset this at the start to say if there's anyone out there that's got an app that they think is so good and we've missed it, by all means email us, messages, whatever,
Yeah.
and tell us, and we will quite happily review it, and then we'll come back and do a footnote or something in one
Absolutely,
of the next
yeah. Apps too, the
Apps
rerun.
Apps do Revenge.
Yeah.
Revenge of
This
the
time
apps.
it's really, really, really personal.
Aye.
That was Jaws 19 though, wasn't it?
Aye, it was actually
That's
from
right.
Back to the Future
Back to-
2.
yeah, exactly. Which happened 6 years ago, which is a bit bizarre.
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
Aye.
Anyway, still not got a bloody hoverboard. Anyway, great. Carry on.
Get them on eBay. All right, I'll go first. Waze. Exactly. Give us a Waze.
Give it a wee ways.
It's a navigation. So it's sat nav.
Aye.
I mean, it is completely free, which is good. Apps being free, I think, is a bonus point. We should have.
Yeah.
I should have come up with some sort of scoring metric, but I never thought about it. It's a navigation solution. It's very simple looking, nice, user friendly. It has some unusual features. The usual features that you would expect from any kind of good sat nav. It's got a kind of day night setting which kind of switches to automatic as the sun goes down. Don't burst into song. It's got 2D, 3D maps, voice relay, auto zoom. It's got speedometer on it, which is quite good. The map moves obviously in the direction that you do, but you can set it to true north so that the map doesn't change. Speed limits are on the maps, and you can set the app to tell you when you go over the speed limit. And you can set this to a percentage, or you can set it to the amount of miles per hour over it.
Yep.
I set it to the percentage because, well, if you're going to set to say, if I'm over the speed limit, let me know. If you set that to like 5 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour over the speed limit at 30 miles an hour, that's ticket territory. 5 miles an hour over the speed limit at 70, you might get away with that one. You probably get away with that one. the map shows road closures and road works. It shows you reported potholes, which was quite interesting.
Oh, that's good.
Aye.
That is good.
However,
Because we know that folk like to report potholes, so I would imagine that's relatively accurate.
by the way, remember you'd be surprised how many was on it. I was quite, because I had the same opinion. I'm going, well, it's only the reported ones, but there must be a lot of people going that have got too much time on their hands. Going, nah, another bloody pothole. I'm going to report that.
You just have to, I think there's umpteen Facebook pages about potholes, isn't there? So
There is.
there's a subculture out there of pothole enthusiasts
Aye.
or unenthusiasts, maybe, because they're very.
There's maybe a pothole club.
It could be, potholing.
Potholing. Aye. It sounds like a real British way of spelunking.
It does, doesn't it? Aye.
It does.
Anyway,
Spelunking. So I doubt every pothole's on there. By a long shot, I can tell you that every pothole's not on there. However, I think the fact that it is, some of them are on there is probably better than none of them being on there. Speaking of icons, and you will like this, the style of it is very, how can I say this? Duplo Lego. The little echo.
It's echo.
Aye.
Very echo.
The icons are little faces and stuff like that. It's
Even
quite
just
cool.
the wee icon for the app's super cute. It's just like we kind of.
Aye,
quite
well, that kind of
blobby
carries
ghost
right
thing.
through it. Exactly.
Or-
It's,
I'm not going to say what else it could be, but
Aye,
it's a
it-
small
it-
white
it's just
kind of blob with a tail.
yeah. But this is
I now have a Monty Python song in my head from
the
Meaning of Life. So
well, you can.
anyway.
It's not that you can change it to a whole load of different wee icons, like your tracker. So mine's is changed to a little motorbike. But you can change it to pretty much any you like. You can have it like a wee. It almost looks like a Duplo Lego lorry.
Cool.
And it's just loads of little things you can just go, oh, I'll have that. Oh, I'll have that. But, and this is the bit I liked, which is just weird, right? Because I was never a mega fan. I wasn't kind of any fan, actually. But there is a whole load of voice options, right? And as you would expect, you get the kind of normal ones. There's a handful of kind of US English ones. At the next corner, turn left. You know what I mean? And then you get the US kind of variants that sound very aptly. As well as a multitude of other languages. There is tons of different languages in there. However, the two best voice options are boy band.
So does that mean that you can
There's a whole group of them.
have it
Singing,
your way?
Change left. It's that kind of thing.
Brilliant.
Which is just nuts. And then my personal favourite, which is still on. Now, I never used this app until we obviously started looking into this.
Yep.
It is now my default sat nav. Boy George. Boy George telling you to take lefts and take rights. And then when you get to your destination, he goes, oh, thanks for riding with us. Oh, can't wait till next time. I'll have the tea ready. Mwah. And I'm going, yes, I've arrived. I have arrived. And it's not even as if it's a guy doing an impression of Boy George, it's spot on, but it sounds like Boy George. So that app is purely worth it just for that. You need to experience that. Now I think if you download it in the US, you get Batman, which we don't get. I know. I looked at it. Had Batman been on there, I would have phoned you straight away, regardless of what shift you were on. You'd have got phoned straight away
On the bat bike.
Aye, and I can't find if there's a place to download them or not, which is a bit of a bummer.
That's a bummer.
Now, just when you think that this voice control or this voice thing couldn't get any better, you can record your own.
Ooh.
Love it.
Which the temptation to sit and record my own Scottish version, very angry Scottish version, you know what I mean? When you suddenly miss a turning, you clown, turn round. Turn round, you clown, you missed it. Would just be so
Muppets.
good. Aye. Yeah, half-wit. Turn round.
Egypt. Yeah, Egypt.
And obviously,
And
us,
obviously there's other ones we would use,
Yes.
but we will not be doing
Yes,
a family-friendly
no,
podcast.
on a family-friendly one, yes, you can obviously imagine. But I will get to the point where I am going to play with that. Once I get tired of Boy George, and no offence, Boy George, if you're listening, he's not listening. But I will possibly be testing that one out. And if you can share it, all the better, because then I'll be encouraging you chaps to download this app, just so that you can hear my abusive sat-nav directions.
And the number of languages is quite impressive. 40 plus languages.
It's quite impressive. There's a whole rake of them on there. It's quite good. The app recognises Google Assistant and Siri. It has a number of shortcuts that you can capitalise on. The only issue I found so far is the integration compatibility. Only works with Apple Music and Amazon Music and Spotify, and there is a couple of others on there like Deezer and all that kind of stuff. There is no integration for Apple Music or iTunes, which if you're an iPhone, which is crazy when you can download the app on iOS.
I know it's there, sitting there.
But you just don't get that integration, because then you get the whole thing on one screen and you don't need to worry about your music because it's all on there, and then it recognises like voice commands and all that kind of stuff. So if you're listening ways, that would be a nice little addition if you could just sort that out and get as Batman in the UK. So yeah, no Apple integration, but that's the only thing that I kind of found, that I had any issue with it. It is slick, it's got loads of features, the direction's good.
Cool.
You can still listen to music in the background and still get your sat nav, but it would have been nice if it had been all in one.
Aye.
But other than that, I that is my new default go-to sat nav.
Nice. Cool. Talking about sat-nav navigation trackers, we've got Kalamoto, another navigation and but it's a tracker app as well, which is quite nice. Its basic version's free. There's a premium version for $7.99. Is that per month?
Yep.
Or $42.99 a year. Yeah. Good navigation app. Not only does it act as a standard sat nav, gives you options to set the type of roads. So fast. It excludes highways, twisty and super twisty if you want. I think we used that. Is that the one we used for going to Loch Lomond a couple of years ago when we took it out?
We did, aye.
We set it
got
up,
a free trial.
And put it in for. It gave us some nice roads.
Yeah.
It was good, wasn't it? So it does, but it does do what it says in the tin. It gives you super twisty if you want super twisty. You can select how many miles trip you want, the direction, the type of road, and it gives you a route. So it's really good if you're wanting to go and explore places that, you know what, you don't actually, you don't know very well, or, you'd like to go a wee bit off the beaten track. So, like, if where we stay in the west of Scotland, we can get to Loch Lomond really quickly, but we quite like to get there really slowly, or really roundabout.
Or not at all.
Or
sometimes,
not at all sometimes, yeah.
Because it's just packed with tourists.
Aye,
no offence to the tourists, but it's packed with tourists.
And then it shares other routes. So if you can share your route with other members on the Kalamoto family. If that's the best way of putting it.
That's a good way of putting it, actually.
It's my thing's bleeping away in the background. Who didn't hear that?
Hear
so what?
What? Hear what?
Exactly. You've heard it now. I've got Hawaii 5-0 playing in the background there because somebody sent me a text message. Should really have that on silent. How unprofessional. Yeah. Very unprofessional.
I don't have a button for.
Yeah. I'm getting one. I want you one for next week.
Okay.
The free bit's pretty basic, yeah, but it is really, really useful. If you're willing to pay £43 a year for the premium version, you do get some extras. Worldwide tour planning and navigation. Offline maps helps if you've got data costs, obviously.
Aye.
And lean angle and acceleration tracking and analysis, so you can actually see how much skin came off your knee in that corner. Do you know what I mean? You get, and that's super twisty roads, I think, are on the premium, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are.
The premium.
They're on
So
the
it will still, on the free version, it will still take you on super twisty roads, but you can't select that as an option. You can only select the down to twisty.
Yep.
I've used it quite a lot actually, for runs about up round about Loch Lomond and up the west coast. Found it really good. It finds you some amazing routes, and it finds you some really nice roads. I think my only slight negative would be that, it will find you super twisty roads. What it doesn't tell you is that super twisty road is covered in potholes and there's a strip of gravel that runs right up the middle of it for 40 miles. So I think, although, as Ian said, you can share your rides and routes, and at the end of your ride it asks you, what was the scenery like, what was the condition of the road like and stuff. So I think as it gathers more data, it might,
give you a better road. And
might give you...
Because there was one bit we went down, wasn't it? It was super gravelly and took us down.
Aye.
And one of the bits when we used it, and it was like, it almost felt like you were kind of getting on one of these roads that stops becoming a road.
Yeah.
But eventually took us back up, which was nice. But we did have that kind of moment where we were going, that's a bit. That's a nice feature for that. But I presume that's on the premium one. Yeah.
Yeah.
43 quid's not much for a year.
It's not overly expensive. And if I think the free version's fine. The free version's fine for running about. I think if you were going to use it extensively for maybe like a 2 or 3 day trip,
If you were a big tourer type person,
you
then
would be better off with the paid version.
I think it's one of those ones. I think where Kalimoto is calling up that market is if you suddenly wake up on a Sunday morning and go, oh wow, sun's out, I've got nothing today, I'm going out on the bike. Where do I want to go? I don't really know where I want to go. You can just go, I want to go south.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do 150 mile round trip. Boom. And it just goes, right, I'm ready, where are you going? Let's go. Don't worry about it, I'll keep you right on the way. And then that's you. You don't need to worry about planning it out and all that kind of stuff. And then it's down to you when you stop, find somewhere to eat or whatever. You can literally just pick a direction and do a round trip. And it'll not take you all the way out and bring you all the way back. It does a full round trip.
A proper circuit. The only, just when you mentioned that, it made me think of one other slight issue that I had with it. So when you've got it on Twisty or Super Twisty, but there is a stretch of road for, say, to get to somewhere where the Super Twisty roads are, and it's a bit of dual carriageway, for example, with exits on it, it will actually take you off at the exits and then back onto the same road again because it's trying to make it twisty.
Right, okay.
So you need to watch for that.
To be honest, I've done that. You know what I mean? I've went, oh, look at the traffic's terrific. Way down to the roundabout, way back up again.
Yeah.
But to do it when the road's quiet, it just seems pointless.
Yeah, it does try to take you off and back on again to make the road a bit twistier for you.
Mind you, if you're taking your bike or if you're going to go a lot of riding around Europe and America and stuff like that, 43 quid's nothing.
No.
And it's 88 countries it covers, including the US. So, I think if you're going, if you're that way into it, it's probably a great thing to have.
And if you can plan it all and take it all offline,
Go somewhere
you're
you
not
don't
having to worry
know.
about data.
I mean, say you were to go to North America and you're sitting in Death Valley and you think, I'd just like to go a really cool way around Death Valley, stick it in, you wouldn't care whether you come off a highway and back on it again because it was, but I know
it's
what
just
you mean.
all scenery.
It's when you know the roads and you go,
Yeah.
I know what this has just done.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a scam, it's a scam.
Especially when you literally come off a slip road down to a roundabout, going almost straight through the roundabout and come straight back up again. You're like, oh. What else we got? We've got Relive, which is a tracking and social app. Now again, cost for the basic version is free. You get Relive Plus, which is $6.99 a month or $38.99 for the year. Again, that's pounds for us people in the UK. For our foreign people, I have no idea.
Probably works out around about the same. I think Apple's, well, certainly from Apple, your pound to dollars about the same.
Aye, the way the pound is at the minute, it's probably just about the same. So we're just talking about the basic version. It's stupidly simple. It really is stupidly simple. Once you've registered, which again is free, you literally open the app and click record, and it tracks your ride. Now, it doesn't just track the ride, it'll do run, actual jogging, it'll do cycles, it'll record car journeys, it'll do anything. It'll pretty much record anything because it's just using your phone's GPS. If you find a vantage point on your route, you can actually take your phone and take a picture on the app, and that'll link the picture to your tracking information, as well as save the image to your native photo app, whatever that may be, Photos and Apple, and I think it's the same in Google. Once you complete your run, you click finish, and this is where the magic happens. The app will produce a little time-lapse video of your route on a map, and it's kind of 2.5D, I call it. It's not quite 2D, and it's not quite 3D. It's kind of 2.5D, but it's still quite cool. The only way to describe it is a bit like an Indiana Jones travel scene.
That's actually a really good description of it. The little plane.
You know, it'd be really cool if you could make your map look old. Fashioned. That would be awesome. Yeah. Relive, if you're listening here, that would be a really cool add-on. If you can make it look like an old-fashioned
map. That's not bad shout. I know. We should be taking commission on these app improvements. Now, if you've taken pictures or videos through your trip, these get shown on the video as you get to that point. So if you're travelling along in your little Indiana Jones line, and then you get to the point where you took the picture, it shows the pictures you took or the video you took, and then it's back onto your little Indiana Jones style map. The Relive Plus subscription You do get those. You get a lot more tools. You can edit your videos. You can add music. You can add pictures and videos in manually. You can control the speed of the time lapse. It's all kind of good stuff. Especially if you like tweaking that kind of stuff, which I know we're quite anal about that kind of stuff. We do like playing with that kind of stuff. There is a social side to the app as well, so you can follow other people, share runs, share videos, basic kind of social media interaction in this day and age. Now, only criticism on this is the number of times I've went out on a run and forgot to start the app and forgot to press record, and then you get to the end and you go, oh, that was a good wee run. I need to remember, I'll need to check and see where I went. Oh, you didn't press record, you half-wit. So I wish it would just recognise the fact that you were moving, because you get these trackers and things like that do that, and they recognise the fact that you're moving and go, oh, it's moving, right, I'll just start. If you had the option to set that on and just have it as a setting, so that if you were, and don't get me wrong, it would probably record every time I take the dogs a walk and all that kind of stuff, but I could live with that if it meant that I wasn't missing runs in my little Indiana Jones style video, which if I get the premium version or the plus version, you could actually put the Indiana Jones music at the back of it. See?
Yeah, that's what you want. That's living the dream.
I'm already thinking, payday.
Put a wee sepia filter over the video. Boom. Winner, chicken
exactly.
dinner. That's what you're looking for. Tell me this though, and we've not touched this in any of these apps, right? And it might not be something that's really that relevant, but I suppose for maybe people with older phones, or are kind of smaller or kind of less advanced kind of Android units especially. What's it like for battery life? Does it drain? Have you noticed a significant drain in your battery life?
I don't really know. I don't notice it purely because my phone is, when I connect it to the bike, it's plugged in.
Right, okay.
So I don't know what it's like for draining. I would imagine the fact that it's using GPS and it's constantly pinging a GPS signal, it might be a bit intensive on the battery.
It is. I've used Kalimoto and I've used Waze, and both of them are fairly intensive in your battery. I used Kalimoto last weekend. I've got a fairly new iPhone 11. Battery normally lasts me 2.5 to 3 days if I don't charge it. And I drained it in about 7 hours last Sunday.
So it's half in your battery life. Almost.
So that is one of those things where, if you can and you've got a mount for your bike, get the charging.
Were you playing music in that as well?
I was playing music as well. Yeah.
But you're going to want to.
You're going to want to.
You're going to want to take all the stuff. So that's definitely worth considering if you're going to use these apps. As I know the quad lock that I've got has a wireless charging pad on it that you can put your when you click it in. So I might invest in that actually.
Aye.
Now that we've had that slight discussion, there you
go. Again, that's the only minor criticism I had. Was just the fact that at times I kept forgetting to switch it on. But other than that, I love it. I love that. Yeah, I love the fact that you can get that, and it's good to see the wee runs. Do you know what I mean? Paying
you shared one the other day, and we'll ping some up on the social media page.
I think I put one up on Instagram,
if you've been on
Facebook.
Maybe do a couple more just for a bit of fun and see how they go.
Aye. Maybe if I pay for the premium version and can put Indiana Jones soundtrack on the back, it'll be better.
You do know that because you've told me that I will pay for the premium version, and I will do that without a doubt. It's happening. So tell you now.
Damn you.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, shall we crack on? We've got a couple more to chat about anyway. Rever. I would imagine you pronounce it Rever because you're revving up things.
Aye, I would have thought so. Being a bike.
Yeah. So another nav and planning app. Again, cost is free for the basic option, £5.50 or £5.49 a month, or $34.99 per year. The basic version is okay. It's a decent route planner. You can add multiple stops. If you want to select only twisted roads, you need to upgrade to premium. So you've not got the same kind of flexibility that you've got in Kalimoto. Yeah. You can cheat it by switching off highways, but you're still not guaranteed twisted roads. Yeah.
That's true.
It has challenges on there which look quite cool, but they're only really USA, New Zealand and Australia.
I couldn't find any when I was looking through it for any for the UK.
That may be something to keep a wee eye on, and they might upgrade to some UK challenges eventually, so it's maybe one to kind of just go in and check back on.
Aye, and that's a point. I never looked when any of these apps first came out. So these, the likes of that one could be a newer app and it's still growing. So who knows?
Absolutely. In the rides feed section, there was a mix of rides that people had added from all across the UK and Europe, which is nice. So you can there is a bit of a community there. Whether this would improve with premium, we don't know, because we've not tried the premium one out. The social aspect is quite cool. You can set up your profile and garage and then join communities, invite friends and create rides. But as we discussed the other week there, the Han Solo in me doesn't really excite me. You know, I'm not a big get out in a group type person, as we know from previous chats. So I like to be on the bike. That's kind of my headspace, on the bike and doing my thing. So that doesn't sell it for me. And if you're getting, something, a bit cooler for your money, then I wouldn't be spending my cash on Rever personally.
Yamaha My Ride, which again is a social tracking and performance app. So this is completely free. Now, if you like the route tracking and the social aspect of some of the previous apps, but you want to know a bit more about what you're actually doing in your ride, then this might just be the solution. Now, call out first, it doesn't behave like a traditional sat-nav. You've got to export the GPX files out of the app into your sat-nav. So it's not actually a native sat-nav app as such.
How easy is that to do? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it because I don't have a sat-nav. I use my phone.
So it would have to be a physical sat-nav unit rather than even a sat-nav app on your phone. You couldn't.
So if I had the Nav 6, which is the latest nav for the BMW, it'd cost a £595. Then I would need to export into that, which seems a bit
convoluted, doesn't it?
Seems a bit counterintuitive when I've got a phone there that does the same kind of job.
Because it's a Yamaha app, does it maybe integrate with Yamahas?
No, I don't think it would. No. I don't know.
It just seems because it's branded as Yamaha.
Well, I know a couple of guys that use this, but they don't have Yamahas. So whether they're using it from that perspective, I think they're using it more from the tracking and the performance perspective.
Right.
But yeah, there's a little follow ride button that displays on the screen that chases you along, and it's not really proper sat. It's more the tracker. It will track the runs. It will link up with your friends and share rides, and you can share the stats, which is again that social aspect. The social aspect's quite powerful on it. It's quite cool. That's the one thing I did like about it. If I had a whole load of folk using that app, and there's loads of those apps out there.
That's really what it's saying. It's about enriching your riding experience rather than supporting it.
Now, don't get me wrong. The performance side of that app is really the benefit of having it.
Yeah.
You can check your distance, your total ride time, your actual time riding since your last stop, your average speed, your total speed, your acceleration stats, your lean angle left, your lean angle right, altitude, both minimum, maximum. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there all about the ride itself and what you're doing on the bike, which I think is the powerful bit. I think that's if you're looking for the performance side of stuff, that's probably the app. There is, Pirelli do have one, I think it's called Diablo or something like that. It's very, very similar, but it's nowhere near. It doesn't have the same level of stats on it that the Yamaha one does. The Yamaha one has a lot more on there, and it's real time, so you can have it on your phone, and it's got a little picture of a bike, and when you lean the bike, it'll show you what your lean angle and stuff like that is, which is great, other than the fact that when you're getting your lean angle on, the chances are you're going around a corner.
Lean angle, you want to be looking at the front of the bike.
You're not going to be looking at your screen. Absolutely.
I don't want to look. You don't want to get your knee down and then go, oh, what am I doing? Oh, 47. Oh, no, that. Oh, hedge. Oh, tree. You know what I mean?
That's it.
But again, good to look back on. The app itself it's cool. I like it. It would look really nice on that new Fire. We were talking about the Fireblade kind of off air. About the matte black and the red line and stuff like that. This app would so look good on that because it's black with the red line and all that. It looks really cool. Even the little bike is red on a black background and all your stats are in red, and it's like, oh, Knight Rider. That looks really cool.
And if you could change that to yellow, I'd be a happy man.
But if you could set it, I didn't see an option to set it. I mean, maybe you could set it that. But again, there's another, Yamaha, if you're listening, make the colour settable. But yeah, it's from that perspective, it is quite comprehensive. But I think overall, it's just missing that nav part. If it was native nav and it did all the other things, then that'd be ideal. You know what I mean? And it means then you could use that as your sat nav with all your performance stuff, and you could have relive running in the background to do the actual kind of funky Indiana Jones part.
And your phone will last for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Again, mine's just plugged in.
Aye.
Not really a problem, other than the fact that it might melt the cradle that it's in because
Well,
the
aye,
phone
let's
gets
be
that
honest.
hot. But aye, but other than that, it's a good, again, for free. Can't complain.
Free. I think that's a key point. That there's no.
Aye, there's no premium.
There's no-
that is
yeah,
that is
yeah.
completely
It's just-
free. You
that's
get all the
completely
toys in it.
Next up, we've got Eat, Sleep, Ride, which is not some sort of new Terrence Malick film or something like that. It is definitely
Nice T-shirt though.
absolutely a social another one, social and tracking app, a bit like your Yamaha one. It's free, but you can pay for Crash Lite at $14.99 for 12 months, which is a crash detection leveler thing, is it?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
thank you.
Yes, sorry.
It doesn't record as many performance stats as the previous one, but the maps do look nicer, and you can set up your own rides and close groups. Crash Lite is a crash detection system, so using the accelerometer, gyroscope, and GPS on your phone, it can determine when you've had an off and can then notify preset contacts, automated phone calls, SMS, emails. I think there's a couple of apps that do that now, and I think there's some bikes now that offer that when you buy the bike now. There's kind of certain things. Triumph have brought something
it
out.
seems to be
I
becoming
was-
more common.
I was reading about it as well. I know like Ford cars, for instance, they've all got that, haven't they? So it seems only kind of logical that bikes will start to have that kind of stuff on them and apps and things. So it's a nice touch, but there might be other things out there. If you've got another couple of tracker apps on your phone, you don't want to pay another 15 quid, and there's maybe an option for another kind of crash detection type thing. It doesn't activate if you drop your phone or ride aggressively either, which is quite good. There's maybe stuff out there that's a bit less kind of sensitive or more sensitive, and might start phoning your wife, and really you've just take that roundabout a bit quick.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
I know. Clever
That
piece
would
of
be biking
Oh, do you know,
ended
that's it, aye.
right there.
That's it. Yeah.
But you're not going to. That thing's a death trap.
If anyone's listening, whenever I say that I've been doing certain speeds, of course that's exactly the speed I've been doing. I haven't been going over it at all. Susan, if you're listening. It's a clever piece of software, engineering coupled with one thing everyone rides with, which is a phone. So Eat, Sleep, Ride, it's a good app if you like, especially if you like your social side for all your hand groupies, which I am not, and you pay for Crash Lite. And actually $14.99. If you've not got anything else, $14.99 for the year is probably one of the better premium services. Isn't it?
Aye, just for the crash detection thing. Aye.
thing. So, excellent. But we've got a couple other apps to talk about, Nan. Just some notable ones, kind of asides that aren't navigation or kind of that kind of thing.
No, they're just
but
a couple of
super handy for
Aye,
things.
other things I think that we just need to throw out there. Some of the other things we looked at. Motorcycle theory test, which I know you passed that stage, Colin, but I don't know if you ever had it. But
Well, I actually only did my theory test about 3 weeks ago.
what did you?
Yeah.
Because
That's
of the backlog.
that's the reason that it's been so long. I've waited so long to do my DAS. I had to that theory test I booked and did a few weeks ago. I booked it in January.
Wow.
So that was me just getting through to that. But I did actually download the theory test app into my phone, and I used it quite a lot. The questions that are in it are pretty much exactly the same as the questions that will come up in your theory test. There are some slight wording differences, but the questions are the same. And the hazard perception bit's actually really good as well.
Aye, it gets you into that feel for
does.
when.
Well, that's what
When
I'll
it becomes
definitely
a
say to
hazard.
John to download that one. Then that's a good shout.
It's worth it. John's driving, you know what I mean? So he has been driving. So they're probably, it's more than motorbike centric stuff
Right.
that he'll need
Yeah.
to. And then, in fact, he probably won't because John's not been driving as long as I have, and probably as long as you have or longer, you know what I mean? But the thing for me is when you go to that, what I call the PlayStation symbols,
Right.
right? And I'm going, don't have a clue. Seen them on the motorway, seen them everywhere, don't have a clue what those signs mean. Those are the kind of little bits. But again, the fact that I had been so long driving before becoming a rider and no brushing up on your highway code and all that kind of stuff. And that actually made me, I've got the highway code on my phone. Tragic, geeky, I know. But I keep a copy of the highway code on my phone so that I've got it. But I would recommend that purely for the hazard perception.
Yeah, I think the hazard perception's a very particular thing. It's almost like the gamification of testing, and you have to
Nice.
you have to learn how to play the game. So it's not just spotting the hazards; it's knowing when to click. When I first started practicing, I was clicking too early.
Yes.
Every single time I would see the hazard as it developed and click it, and then it'd be like, you scored no points in this one. And when I looked, I was clicking like a second before
Yes.
the 5 second space that you have to click.
It's judging
It's-
when it
it's-
becomes a developing hazard, and you're going.
Yeah.
But again,
I've seen it. I'm reading the road further ahead than you expect me to.
that being in the IAM, that's what they teach you. You should be judging. You should be looking at every single thing on the road. And if that's a woman with a pram that's walking down to a set of lights, you should be anticipating that woman may possibly push that button, those lights change. Therefore, you need to be prepared and have a plan if that happens. How are you going to slow down? How are you going to come to a stop? Or you know what I mean? You need to be thinking about all those things 360 degrees and about you. So, aye. But there you go. But as you say, it is playing a game. It's clicking at the right time.
It is.
Another app out there is called Autoist, which
Autoist.
it does lend itself very well to podcasting. Autoist. It's a maintenance tracker. I know. Now, it's completely free. You can track MOTs, services, tyre checks. You can log your tyre checks when you do them. Fluid replacements, you can log all that, and it doesn't just do your bike, it can do any vehicle in your garage.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you've got a couple of bikes, well, again, I mean, we're talking about the fortunate, but if you had a car and your wife had a car, you had a bike and your wife had a bike, there's 4 vehicles that you're going to need to try and keep track on, and when it's due its MOT and all that kind of stuff. This just, you can log it all on there.
I've got one bike and I still miss my MOT date and had to wait a week.
This is the app for you then, my friend. This is the app for you. But aye, it's a for nothing. It's a great wee app just to keep a log of all your stuff, especially if you're doing tyre checks and you go, when was the last time I checked my tyres? Oh, there you go. Oh, I checked them actually 6 weeks ago,
So-
and they were at 2.2 mil or whatever.
Does it give you notifications of when things are due?
No idea.
No idea. No, I'm just thinking.
I didn't put that much into
I'm
it.
just thinking there might be a slight added advantage of that. For example, my girlfriend, not a biker, has no interest in bikes whatsoever, is really supportive and nice about it. But at times, I get the impression that she thinks the bike possibly takes up a little bit too much of my time. Having an app like that where I'm going out to lube and check my chain. Can you do it? Well, no, the phone says I need to do it now. Look, I've got a reminder to go and do it.
No,
it's
my
like-
phone says.
My phone says.
I think it does. I mean, but again, I didn't spend too long on it because there was so many apps I was trying to get through. But I would imagine it would. I'd imagine it would give you some sort of a reminder, almost, that you could put in there. But even if you don't and you're using it as a tracker and you go, right, that's when it's due, then stick it in your reminders on your phone or your calendar on your phone and set it up with a week's reminder. Good shout, Colin.
Nice.
And if no, Autoist,
Autoist.
get a
Autoist.
notification setting on there.
Yeah. That would be good. I would work for ASMR, wouldn't it? Autoist.
Autoist. Aye. Remember, these will get thingies on them so you can actually pronounce your S's
Autoist.
without any kind of sibilance.
Couple more to look at before we kind of round up our apps for the boys. Biker SOS. Family show. Biker SOS. Cost is free, but there's a premium service, as you'll find with a lot of these things. £4.49 a week, $8.99 a month, £43.99 a year. Very much like Eat, Sleep, Ride, a bit of GPS, bit of all that kind of stuff. Again, crash detection, automatic calls, emergency centre notification, crash detection, auto live tracking, messages to contacts, which is quite cool.
Aye,
Yeah.
the message to contacts. I think you can do up to 10 contacts, I think it was.
Right.
Which is quite clever, because then if if you have a bit of a wobble or take a roundabout way too quick or too aggressively, you can tell 10 of your friends instantly.
Yep, that you are chancing it.
Aye.
So, so there we go. $43.90. So it's way more expensive, but it does seem to have quite a lot of nice wee features in it. So it's another one worth having a wee look at and having a look round. It does live tracking your tours. You can take your photographs, it will sync them with the bikes that you're on. You can link multiple bikes to it, which is nice.
Quite clever.
Quite clever. So you can track the performance a bit of your bike, which is pretty cool. And then the last one we're going to talk about, which is actually like, you kind of think to yourself, you use it all the time, but you don't really think about it as a motorcycle, and that's your weather app. Yeah. We've got the BBC weather app as the one we've kind of used because it's relatively accurate, you know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, again, for the US, the Fox one. Anyone that's been to Florida, use the Fox app, because in Florida, you literally get like a minute's notice that it's
Yeah.
going to torrentially chuck it. But I think any weather app is a must-have, just so that you know what to pack for that day,
Yeah.
especially in this country. I
Yeah.
mean, if you live in Arizona or Texas or somewhere that is guaranteed pretty much lovely weather all year round, then I suppose it's different. You might want to then pack a hydration pack if it's going to be above 35 degrees.
Yep, exactly.
We don't get above 35 degrees in this country. If we did, I'd be looking to the sky to see if the big yellow ball was getting closer.
There's another thing if you want to learn about it, which is quite cool, which is the Meta and TAF weather reports. So if you learn how to read them, they are super accurate, and they're the weather reports that they give out to pilots, and you can get them online. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cool, right? So and you just find your nearest airport, and you will get that, and they are super accurate. So obviously, because I did fly my drone,
Yes.
part of the course is to learn about the Meta and TAF weather reports. One is the weather as it is right now at that area, and then there's that gives you the next 24 hours what the weather's going to be like, and it's like super accurate.
I can feel a new segment coming to the podcast. Ian's weather report.
Ian's weather report. But it is like super weird codes, yeah. So you'd have to kind of learn how to read them. But it's once you learn how to read them, they're quite cool, and they're really quite accurate. So there you go.
I can feel an instructional video coming in the future.
Yes, I would just say have a wee look around them, guys. Work out how to do them. They're really cool. Wind speeds and all that, distance, visibility, all that kind of stuff. The type of rain you're going to get, the type of clouds you're going to get.
Really?
Aye, it's really cool.
It's wet.
It's wet. Aye, but yeah, it's really pretty cool.
It's whether you're really wet or just damp.
But the key to it is they are really accurate,
Oh.
and they're updated very regularly by the meteorologists that work at the airports. So there you go.
Sounds really good.
Metar, METAR, and TAF. If you type that in your Google, you can get lots of ways to learn how to do
And
it.
it'll just be a sheet of numbers and lines and stuff, and then I'll
kind
need
of
to phone you.
internationally recognised, so you could
So you could do it anywhere in the world. And I'll still need to phone you to go, Ian,
Yeah, what does this mean?
what does 45 degrees?
And it'll tell
74.
you. It's
Aye.
very clever.
And you've missed one.
Have I?
Aye. What's the one app that we
Oh,
all
the one, of
use?
course, yes. Last but by no means least, play that funky music, bike boy. Yeah. Apple Music or Spotify, really thinks music.
We'll stick to podcasts.
That's like the
We're
podcast.
no branching it.
So your music app, yeah. If you're listening to music, as we talked about a couple of podcasts ago, if you're listening to music, music or Spotify, get the premium services so you're not listening to all the crappy adverts. You know what I mean? Apple doesn't have a non-premium service, so
No, it's just pay for it.
just pay for it, yeah. And as you know, most of these, the two main ones will link to most of your big apps.
Aye.
And if
Aye.
they don't, they'll still play in the background. So
What are you using, Colin?
I use Apple Music.
Aye. So we're all using Apple Music.
exactly.
I
So
mean,
cool.
Although, surprisingly, I use Spotify for podcasts. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I use Spotify for podcasts. If I'm listening to a podcast, then I'll use that.
Aye, I'm the same. Funnily enough.
You know what I mean?
I've
I
got
don't know
weird-
why I don't use the Apple native one. I don't know.
So I think what we've got is loads of apps. A lot of them geared around navigation and touring and planning.
And that's like, we've tried to keep that to trying to keep it to a concise
Aye.
list.
You type it
There
into
was
your app stores, you'll just
hundreds of
yeah.
them, and I mean, I downloaded every one and looked and went, nah, no worth reporting on.
Yeah.
Delete that one, and then went through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many apps.
But
out
if
there.
you're out there listening and you get an app you want us to have a look at and chat about, tell the world about, then please do drop us a wee message on our usual contacts, which we will let you know about at the end.
So what's the
Sure.
three apps that you wouldn't be without?
Apple Music.
Yep.
Yep, especially for my Anthrax meets Michael Bublé playlist.
Aye, if you
I do like the Relive app.
the Tracker Indiana Jones one.
Yeah,
You just like it for the fact that you can
You
tell
know,
Indiana
now
Jones.
that I know,
mark now.
now that I know I'm going to put Indiana Jones behind it, right? I'm just telling you now, I'm going to love that app, and I am going to work out a way to make that look like the Indiana Jones maps. And some, even if it's just like a kind of stylized version of the apps they've got, I'm going to do what I can. Premiere Pro is getting a hammering soon for me, and I'm interested in the crash detection stuff. I'm going to look into that a bit more. I think I might. That could be a nice new wee safety feature thing.
I think more and more will start to develop that as a kind of a subscription based add-on.
Yeah.
Purely for that reason, that I think a lot more are doing it.
I think you might find within the next couple of years you'll start to see that built into the actual stuff in the bikes, so the big adventure bikes with the sat nav units and all that are built in. They'll start to build crash
have it on.
detection.
I know.
as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But of course, if we can get Batman,
You might go for Waze.
no, there's no might about it. I'll tell you now. If we can get Batman added to the UK version, then Waze will be playing all the time.
Aye, Waze, if you're listening, if you can get Batman in the UK version of the app and some sort of crash detection, you'll get customers for life.
Absolutely,
'Cause I don't think you would tire of Batman.
not at all.
I don't think I could argue with that. I think Apple Music's an absolute must. I think some form of sat nav, whether that be Waze or Google Maps or Calimoto. Calimoto edges it, I think, slightly, because there's many a time I've left and went, I don't know where I want to go. You know what I mean? And I can just go like, oh, ding, oh, right, I'm going north. And then, oh, there's how many miles I want to do. And then just set it and go. If it had a proper, nice sat nav, if it had the best bits of Waze in it, in Calimoto, I'd quite happily pay the 40 odd quid a year just to go, yeah, I'll have that, thank you.
It's probably a bit too grown up. Waze is not as grown up, do you know what I mean? There's a childish kind of immaturity about Waze that actually appeals to more people than probably the more serious app developers
And
think about.
Boy George whispering in my ear has definitely made riding that little bit more adventurous.
And it's definitely given me a new outlook on you, Darren.
Yeah.
But
It's gave me a new outlook on me.
You know, we cannot express on a podcast the twinkle in Darren's eye. I'll tell you now.
You download it and try it.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. It's happening.
And then you will phone me going,
Kind of super excited about the boy band one, to be honest.
I can't get the boy, but no, that it's fine. It's funny. At first you go, that's quite funny, and then you go, right, that's annoying. Off.
Yeah, I did have Mr. T once in a Tom, which was quite funny.
Go let fool.
That was great. So good.
See that or Gordon Ramsay.
Oh,
Aye. What
I
are you
I
doing,
think I'd find.
idiot
I think I
sandwich?
could. I think I could cope with Mr. T for the whole ride, but I don't know if I could cope with Gordon Ramsay for the whole run. No offense, Gordon.
What were you, Colin?
Again, Apple Music. Everywhere I go, I've got some music and going on in my ears. Just as a small aside, I really do think that AC/DC coming on in your helmet should be a legal defence for speeding.
Yep,
But that's a
absolutely,
whole-
especially thunderstorm.
Aye.
Yeah.
Well, we had that conversation before, and I think we said anything in that kind of genre or Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone.
As you're going past an airport.
As you're going past an airport, should just be
yeah.
it should be a that red thing
Yeah.
there. Nah, it doesn't apply to me. Why? And then just let them listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing Kenny Loggins. It's an airport. I can do whatever speed I like
And-
without wearing a helmet.
And possibly, not necessarily for speeding, but the going home theme from Local Hero, when you're somewhere up north and you just come over the hill
Yeah.
and we look down in somewhere like Penang or something like that, and just have that music playing. I've had that experience, and it is spine tingling. It's just
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, definitely Apple Music. Probably Calimoto as well. I use it all the time. It's, as you say, finish work at 5 o'clock. It'll be dark by 9. I've got 4 hours. I can go for a run. How many miles do I want to do? Is 60. There we go. And it'll just plan your route, and you can just follow it. And it has the advantages that you can switch off highways. So if you're still on a 125 like me, it's not going to try and take you on any more.
That's a good point, actually.
That's a
Never
good point,
even-
because we didn't consider that. No,
No.
but that's good for me, like John. No, for his.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's handy. And my BBC weather or my Apple weather app.
Aye.
Either or. If I'm still at home, and I'm on the laptop, I'll use the BBC. And if I've got my, if I'm out and I've got the phone, I use the Apple weather. It's a necessity, really, in this country.
Aye.
To
It allows you to forward plan. You know what I mean?
The other thing as well is I'm on a tiny 125.
Not for long.
Sports style bike. There's nowhere to keep anything. There is literally, so it's not like I can leave for the day and say, oh, I'll take this set of waterproofs, an extra pair of shoes, and something else. I simply don't have room, so I really need to plan what I'm taking, and the weather app's essential for that.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change, Colin, when you buy your parallel twin R7.
It's no.
No, it's not going to say. I've got no way to put
It's
anything
no.
in that bike of mine.
No. You're gonna need a lot of warm stuff because hell will have frozen over.
It'll be. I can see it coming. It'll be some sort of inline 4 Honda.
Yeah.
Probably.
We'll keep you posted on that one. We need to get Colin back in next week or next time for the update.
Aye.
Only if you pass though.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
If
When you
I
bring you
fail,
in-
I'm
If we
not
don't
allowed.
if we don't mention Colin in the next podcast, folks, take from that what you will.
I wouldn't have you in, Colin, just going, so what the fuck happened, Colin? Sorry.
Hey,
I'll bleep that
family
out.
friendly, bleep that out.
Aye, what happened, Colin? What happened?
I
Well,
rode the way I usually do.
Wait. Anyone who's still listening, who's made it this far, here's a little bonus. So, since recording the following day, Colin actually went out and passed his Mod 2 test. So, Colin is now a fully fledged, fully licensed average biker. Big shout out to the guys at Biker School in Glasgow who not only helped Colin through his test, through his biking journey, and got him over the line. They also helped my wife do the same. So a lot of respect for those guys there. Anyone who's interested in starting their biking journey or progressing their biking journey, have a look at those guys. They're brilliant. You can find them at www.bikerschool.co.uk or look them up online and give those guys a shout. Normal service. I rode the bike, I'd stole it. That's the problem with a lesson bike. It's no yours. Temptation is to go really fast.
Yeah,
I always used to say that when you were term for work, if you get a hire car, you say, what's the fastest car you can drive? A hire
Hire
car.
car.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's the same. What's the fastest bike you can ride? A test drive bike.
That's it.
And MD1 listening from West Coast, that's not what I did with the Pan America. I drove it like a true gentleman.
And I would be doing the same. Cool.
There you go. That's us.
You go, that's it.
Apps kind of cover,
Yeah.
I think.
Brilliant.
Again, if anyone out there thinks we missed something or has an app that we don't know about, then let us know. We can have a look at it.
The weird
and-
and quicker the better.
Aye, if it's got an Indiana Jones style map on it, we are totally interested.
Absolutely.
Or if it sounds like Batman and has Batman speaking to you, we are totally interested.
Yep.
Again, as long as it's loosely related to bikes, I'll say loosely because even if it's just a standard Batman app, we can be sold. But there you go. That's it. Episode 6.
Excellent.
Again, thanks for everyone for listening to the ramblings of us, the average bikers in a cave, this week and every week, actually. Again, the support is mind-blowing, and we absolutely love it. Massive thanks to Colin, actually, this week for coming in.
Thanks very much for having me.
It's been good to get somebody else's perspective as opposed to mine and Ian's.
And quite a different perspective, which is nice. Controversial Colin, as we now call him.
I know, controversial Colin. That's going to be... We should get... Again, between him and our lovely listener Dale, we could have a whole new couple of segments. You could Controversial Colin's Corner.
Corner. Yeah.
Corner. No, that's just not.
Controversial Colin's curveball. Oh. That's good.
You'll need to do that. That'll need to be
That's
pre-recorded on a button
That's
somewhere.
happening.
But yeah, as always, remember this is just the opinions of a group of average bikers.
So a massive thank you from all of us here, and if you enjoyed it, please like, share, and more importantly, subscribe. And if you want to get in touch with questions or a possible big question, then please email us at averagebikersinacave@outlook.com or get in touch via Facebook page or Instagram, and we will see you in the next episode. So until next time, remember, only a biker understands why a dog sticks his head out of a car window. Ruff.